Hello, I'm David Bosek, and this is Part 2 Video Issues Section E, Part 2 of my continuing series on the moon hoax on my political news magazine channels on YouTube and Rumble. Please make a note that I am David T. Bosek and I do not use AI in the creation of any of these videos. Please also note that in this video, I mainly take information from the Lagarde book. I cite from there and I debate with it. At the end of the video, I also take some information from the Keenan book. I have some of my own opinions or theories on all this, obviously, within the moon hoax theories. So here we go with this video for today. Is any of this real? Is it real? No. It's all faked. It was all a hoax back in '69 and from '69 to '72, in my opinion. According to NASA, there's evidence of all 6 descent stages from the LM from every Apollo program on the moon. This is completely false. There is nothing up there. According to NASA, they're 4 meters wide, meaning they should be conspicuous. There would be nothing to bury them according to NASA, but no one has ever showed them. NASA photos and videos prove nothing, nada. These stages, as we learned about in high school, were supposedly crashed into the moon at one point to prove we were there, I believe, in 1972. But where are the craters? Where are the shards or the debris on the surface of the moon? There's nothing there. A lot of astronomers say there's nothing there, and it all proves nothing, nada. Do not buy into this. There is no real evidence anyone ever landed on the moon, especially America. You can hear noise in a vacuum, but NASA says you can. NASA claims spaceship noise, meaning the LM. As I talked about in previous videos, none of that adds up either. According to NASA, the space music in Apollo 10 was walkie-talkies in harmony. This is insane. Music is music, proving that this was all filmed on the Earth. It's all a big hoax. A lot of space travel, folks, may actually be a myth. NASA always avoids debate on anomalies, meaning they're evasive on a mental level. They also take things off the internet that prove it was all faked. They avoid debate on this, remember that. No human ever went beyond LEO since Apollo 17 in 1972 until now, almost 60 years later. This is what they're telling you. Also keep in mind, these are the same people that faked it. Also keep in mind, the moon landing has now been delayed for 3 more years. Coincidence? You be the judge. NASA had a replica of the lunar surface for training in Texas, New Mexico, and Flagstaff, Arizona, according to the Lagarde book on page 215 through 18. Big yellow flag, in my opinion. The footage was released later, according to her, under national security. Meaning, they kept it all covered up until they were forced to release all this, proving this was all faked. That's why they didn't want it out there. They didn't want you to know. They had the means to fake it out west, folks. Bill Casing has talked about it in at least a third of his book when it comes to this issue. Series of signals can be faked. The moon to Australia to Houston in a few seconds in 1969? No way. It's not reality. We can't even build the Saturn V rocket now. Why? Because NASA lost the blueprints for one of the greatest accomplishments of man. I talked about it in previous videos. I believe it is part of the cover-up of the faking of the entire Apollo program. Watch those videos. The public had been prepped for belief in TV and sci-fi films or shows of the times in that time period, according to page 223. Examples would be the movie 2001 by Kubrick, and TV shows like Star Trek and The Twilight Zone. in my opinion, it tried to make deep space travel believable. The era of blind trust believed TV told the truth, according to Lagarde. She debates a lot of this too. People were manipulated. They believed the government because they wanted to. In my view, there's no retroreflectors on the moon either. That was all faked. There's a lot of theories about that. They were all faked in my opinion. There's nothing up there. In the Keenan book, there's evidence of video faking on page 9. If you double the speed of the Astros in the videos, they're now in Earth's gravity. Major red flag. Many independent researchers have proved this. I'm not one of them, but I do agree with them. There's no wind to slow them down. The movie 2001, in my opinion, was used to brainwash the public. There were Astros and Slo-Mo in it. I'll talk a little bit about that right now. I'm a big film buff, and I am a fan of Stanley Kubrick. He's one of my favorite directors. But I believe the film may have actually been created solely to fake the moon landings. Remember, the film is highly subjective. There's a third of the plot that doesn't even make any sense. And it's a highly subjective film about God, humanity, eternity, and space travel, in my opinion. There's a lot of it that doesn't add up, and the special effects in a lot of ways overtake the film. I believe there may have been very little time thrown into the plot because it was used to fake the moon landings. He talks about an interview with Casing at the end of the book. You can hear Armstrong talking over the rocket engine of almost 200 decibels upon descent, according to Casing. This is all impossible, according to him, and he is right. Casing was also involved in making lunar models for the surface of the moon. So he had inside knowledge of the faking, and that's why I believe he was attacked heavily in the 1970s for exposing all this. We owe him a great debt for exposing it. He risked his life to expose it at that time, in my opinion. Okay, on to other things. My next videos next week are going to be the beginning of section 3 or part 3 on the Van Allen radiation belts. I'm also going to talk about the Mary Bennett paper or report in the second video that proves this was all faked and the Apollo program was largely, or I think completely, all faked. Please also make a note, I'm David Bosak. I don't use AI in any of these videos. If you want more information about me and my political career, you can Google my name on Google. Please also note I have a blog on issues and a detailed biography on Goodreads.com. There I do talk about a lot of issues that may be important to you at the domestic and the global level. I also talk about movie reviews and book reviews on there from time to time. I'm mostly into X, meaning I spend most of my time on my private personal account on there, my news feed, and my feed about women's issues. But I do talk about issues from time to time on Goodreads every few months. So I am on there from time to time talking about important issues. I'm all over the internet. You may want to take a look at that if you are interested. Okay, thanks again for your time. I'll see you next week. It's free to subscribe.